What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Dudes Who Bet Daily, March 15th, 2023. It's been a week. I'm coming back, baby. Let's go. We've got some NCAA tournament to talk about, Aaron. How excited are you for the tip-off here?
I'm pretty excited. Since we've covered the sports more the last 3 or 4 years, it gets more and more exciting this time of year. Everybody's pumped up. Everybody loves filling out those brackets. And I was talking on the Monday show. I said, I love it too, but what I love even more is going game by game, betting the point spreads, like a normal during the season that we do. So a lot of opportunity there that we'll talk about, I'm sure, throughout the week, but it's all brackets today.
Yeah, today we're going to go over our final four. So we're going to go through each region, give our picks for each of those spots. We will go more game by game once we come to Thursday and Friday, since we're more of a daily betting show. So we'll cover those as we get to them. Papa Dude, NCAA tournament. Where does this rank on your hierarchy of sporting events?
Well, it's a lot of fun, but I don't really give it too much thought either. Well, I'd give it too much, I guess. I think you're better off just going through it and just picking what comes to your mind first, instead of analyzing. I think you can overanalyze these things. It's an impossible thing to do. If you win it, you can go around bragging about it, but you got pretty lucky, really, because there's just crazy stuff's going to happen, and you don't know which one of the teams is going to do it. And that's the thing. If you're lucky enough and pick the right one that makes a run that anyone thinks it's going to, then you're probably going to have a shot to win. So, yeah. But it's a lot of fun.
These bracket side is interesting because you really have to decide on if you have to understand how big of a group you're playing against, right? If you're playing against 10 people, you want to take a little bit more chalk. If you're playing against 500, you better have some crazy opinions, or else there's no way you're going to be able to beat everybody.
That's right.
Yep. One of my favorite things to do here is to fade specific conferences or go for specific conferences as well. My two fades this year, the Big Ten and the Mountain West. Fun stat here, Mountain West, 1-9 in their last 10 tournament games. Absolutely atrocious. They have Nevada tonight. We'll get to that a little bit later. San Diego State taking on College of Charleston, one of your favorites, I know, Papa Dude. Another fun one, round of 64, first half unders since 2017 have hit at 58%.
Wow. And
if that game starts before noon Eastern, they hit it close to 64% on the first half under.
You can see that.
Something else to check out there. It makes sense, right, Papa? As a past coach, right? Nerves and the time in general. Yeah. And you also see larger totals in the NCAA tournament because of the fouling in the last 3 minutes, which means the first half totals are also adjusted up, which gives you a little bit more room to wiggle there.
Sure. And teams are nervous. Those 11 o'clock games, you're the first one of the day. That's tough. That's tough.
How about this? You've made the NCAA tournament a great accomplishment. You're at 11 o'clock in Des Moines, Iowa, and there's 2,000 people in a 12,000 seat arena. That tends to go under a lot because it's like, where am I? And what has happened? Like, I'm in the NCAA tournament and I'm in Des Moines, Iowa at 11 o'clock. And I go to school at, North Carolina, not this year, but you know what I mean? Like a school that's prestigious, and we play in front of more people than this in our scrimmages, So I think it is a little bit of just a shock that first round.
Yeah. There are a lot of 3-point shooting teams as well in new gyms, which can often not go so great for them. All right, let's start ripping through the brackets here. We'll start out with, it looks top to bottom, by far the toughest of the four brackets. We're headed out west to start off here. Kansas, your number 1 seed. Your number 2 here, UCLA. Gonzaga, the 3. UConn, the 4. I thought this bracket was absolutely wide open. We'll kick it off with you, Aaron. Where'd you go here?
Yeah, I thought this was a very tough bracket. I thought it was one of the tougher ones, or it maybe not, or maybe the toughest one, I should say. So I went UCLA to come out of this. It's probably no surprise anybody that's listened to us the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've really loved UCLA. I know they've got some injury problems, but it's kind of iffy that their big defender comes back and plays. I think they can get away with resting him in round 1, but you better have him ready after that. I still think UCLA is the team to beat out of this region. Look, here's the deal. And I said it on the Daily Show last week. They can win games 80-79. They can win games 60-59. They don't have to play a certain style to win. I think that makes them the favorite to win this region.
Yeah, Kansas got no favors here. I think that UCLA or UConn probably the best 4 seed, Papa Dude.
Yeah.
UCLA arguably the best 2 seed in here.
I think so.
Gonzaga arguably the best 3 seed of any of them as well. And by the way, if you get to the final, their Elite 8, you got to play UCLA Gonzaga in Vegas, where they both traveled exceptionally well. So who did you get here, Papa Dude?
It makes no sense that I agree with you. I think UConn's the best 4. You can argue on UCLA being the best 2, but I think they are. Up until the last 2 or 3 days, they might have gotten a 1, and had they beat Arizona, they may have gotten a 1 seed. And then Gonzaga's playing as well as any. So I agree with you. This is the toughest region, where there's another one over here we're going to get to in a minute. I think it's pitifully weak. So anyway, I went chalk here. UCLA bothers me just a little bit coming out of the conference that they came in. I'm very high on them, though. I think they play well. I just took the conference that has been the toughest. That was the deciding thing. Now, Kansas has got a potential tough game in the second round, I think, if Arkansas wins. Aaron doesn't like Arkansas at all. This is the kind of team, though, they have a lot of talent. And it's a tough game. It's just a tough game, I think. Now, they may not win. I don't think Illinois is very good at all. So I think they're a little better than UConn, and I think they beat UCLA. So I took Kansas out of this bracket, but this is iffy.
I agree with you, Poppy. I think Arkansas rolls Illinois. But again, I'm literally picking against every single Big Ten team in the first or second round, so that shouldn't be a shocker for you. Give me Gonzaga out of here. If they play defense, I think they might be the best team in the country. It's the big if, right? Because we saw it against St. Mary's in that conference final. When they show up on the defensive side of the ball, they are wildly dangerous because they are phenomenally efficient on the offensive side of the ball. Aaron mentioned UCLA's guard, number 1 rated defender per Ken Palm in the country, out for the tournament with an Achilles injury. I think that makes a big issue for them. I was hoping this was going to be Houston, because I'd be a lot more confident that Gonzaga would get through here if it was Houston. I think Kansas and Gonzaga is going to be a phenomenal game in Vegas if it ends up being the 2 of them. But that is going to be a very fun bracket. Let's head out east here. This is the one Papa is referring as the weak bracket, probably because Purdue is sitting there on the number 1 seed. I have Oral Roberts in the Elite 8 in this bracket. So that should tell you about how much I respect the top half of this sucker here. I took Marquette coming out of here, the 2 seed. I think that they get a great shot at pulling through here. I don't love Kansas State. I obviously don't like Purdue at all. If I have Oral Roberts, the 12, coming out of the top half of this, I think Marquette's able to get the job done and come out of the East. Aaron, who do you like here?
You have Oral Roberts in the Elite 8, and I have Duke in the Final 4. So there's where it's at right there. Look, I'll start with your Oral Roberts comment first. I really want to pick them. I think they get the worst of the 5-12 matchups. I think Duke is on a roll. I don't think they can beat them. If they can, I'm with you. I think they're going a long ways. But
Tennessee, terrible 4.
Yeah.
Purdue, terrible 1. So
Yes.
it's like, this is the plot shot where you take a spot. I sat there and I almost had FAU in the Elite 8. Because that's the other way where you look at, I think FAU beats Purdue. And if they do, and we just go wonky with that Duke, Oral Roberts, Tennessee, Louisiana section, you could see the 8-9 come out of that spot.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt. It's a terrible bracket.
And that's why I picked Duke, because I just think they're the class. And I think, you're going to get some wonky games, but I think Duke's the one that they're not going to be able to beat. That's the one they're not going to be able to get through. So like FAU Duke, that's a very likely, in my opinion, Sweet 16 matchup. I just think that's where that road's going to end, because they're the team that's hot. They're the team that has that tournament winning experience. And I just think that's the one that's going to end those Cinderella bids. But you're right. There's going to be a lot of them come out of this, because this is bad.
Yeah.
That top half specifically is a mess. It's one of the reasons I took Marquette, is because I didn't really want to take anyone from that top half, because I could see the 12, I could see the 5, I could see the 9 all coming out of that top half to make it to the Elite 8. Papa Dude, where'd you go here in the East?
Well, when the bracket first came out, I thought, way to go, committee. Let's give a 30-win team the 12th seed against Duke.
Yeah.
That is a nice thing to do to Oral Roberts. You win 30 games. All right, let's just stick them in there against Duke. I thought that was ridiculous.
Well, especially when your other options are St. Mary's and San Diego State, where you easily could have put them there, and then Miami, who's playing decent. But anyway, go ahead.
30.
In general, VCU, Oral Roberts, and COC as 12s. I mean,
I know it's ridiculous. And anyway, I can't pick Oral Roberts over Duke. I just can't. I'm old. I'm old school. I just can't. Here's what I think on the Purdue thing. I think if Memphis beats Florida Atlantic, I think they beat Purdue. I'm not sure Florida Atlantic's going to think they can beat Purdue. They can. There's no doubt. I'm very impressed with them. But that's one that worries me a little bit. But I don't think Purdue's going to beat Duke. Duke's playing so well. I love Marquette. I don't know how well they guard. That's the thing. The other thing we're not talking about, Kansas State's a horrible 3.
Yeah.
And they're in this bracket too. Tennessee shouldn't even be a 4.
Especially
that should be Texas A&M. They should be there, and Tennessee should be a 7. I don't know what the love for Tennessee is. I haven't figured that one out yet, and they could get beat in the first round. I think Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, have got talent. They can beat them because Tennessee's sketchy. Anyway, let's get through this. I got Duke in the Final Four, as does Aaron. As does Joe Lenardi, by the way.
One of the reasons why I want to fade Duke here. This is going to be a popular pick to come out of this bracket.
It is.
If you want to try and be contrarian, it's a great time to try and take Duke down. The Louisiana-Tennessee game, by the way, opened at 14, down to 10.5 already.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so that one's getting back quite a bit down there. All right, let's head out to the Midwest now. Your number 1 seed, Houston. Your 2, Texas. Your 3, Xavier. Your 4, Indiana. Again, I look at the West here and I'm like, right now, I take the top 4 seeds out of the West to win the East or the Midwest. However, I am not allowed to do that. Papadu, we'll start with you here. Who do you like?
I have Indiana out in the first round. I think Kent State beats them. Kent State is good. The MAC is pretty good. You look at those teams, they knock each other up. You got a couple teams there that won 28, 27 games. It's strong the first 5 or 6. Indiana is not very good. I don't know how they got a 4. I don't get it. But anyway, I'm not on the committee.
It's a shame.
I think this whole thing, my whole pick depends on one thing, and we don't know this. Is the kid from Houston healthy? That's the big unknown that we don't know. And that's what makes picking this damn bracket all the way to the end so hard. Yeah. Because I firmly believe they're the best team in the country if he's healthy. And from all indications, I think he's going to be able to play. I'm not sure he's going to be able to play the first game, but I think they can win that first game. From what they're talking, I think he might be. It's a groin pull, though. You risk playing a guy too soon, and it gets worse. And, boy, those groins are tough to heal. They really are. So, anyway, it comes down to me, Houston, Texas, and that is epic. And what a game that's going to be if it gets to there. I love Houston. I love the coach. I want him to win a national championship. My pick is firmly sentimental. I've got Houston in the Final Four, and I hope they win it because I think Kelvin Sampson will retire if they win this thing.
I think Papadu did a great job of breaking this down. I think Kent State are likely 13 to knock off 4 Indiana. I think that Houston doesn't need the number 1 player in their team, their guard, in either of the first 2 rounds to be able to get through, since they're probably going to play Auburn in the second round after facing Northern Kentucky in the first. Houston, Texas is going to be a barn burner. I'll take Texas. I put them through to the Final Four. I do think that's going to be a phenomenal game, though. And talk about 2 teams that don't like each other. That's the Battle of Texas in Missouri. It'll be interesting to see how we turn out there. Houston travels very well for a basketball school. Yeah. So that would be a phenomenal game. I'll take Texas out of that bracket, but I agree with Papadu. It looks like Houston or Texas. Aaron, who do you got?
Well, I'm with Somich's idea of I don't know that they're going to need the Sasser in these early games because Northern Kentucky and Auburn, that's who I've got them playing in the second round. Auburn, I've got them playing Drake in the third round. And I think that's another one where they might not need him. They're going to need him for the Texas game. Here's the deal. He will beat Texas. I think if they get Houston, Texas, Sampson will beat Texas. I have confidence that he can beat the Longhorns. I got Houston. I'm not overly sold on it, but I think Houston gets it done.
I'll tell you another game before we get out of this. The second round could be Texas A&M. That's another one. 2 teams that absolutely hate each other, and A&M might knock them out there. I don't know.
Yep, it's possible.
That would be a heck of a game too.
It'll be a lot of fun there. The second round in that bracket, I think, is going to be specifically interesting. That Houston game, I think they get through. I have Miami, Kent State, which I think would be a fun game as well.
Yeah.
Drake, Kent State would be a blast too. Those would be both very good 4 or 5 games there. Xavier, Kansas State, your most likely matchup in the other side. That should be a fun one as well. So the Midwest is going to be fun, although I wouldn't say it's as strong as the West. Let's head over to the South, the final bracket of the tournament here. Your number 1 seed, Alabama, resides there. 2, Arizona. 3, Baylor. 4, Virginia. The 1, 2, 3, very strong here. The 4, I got some questions about. Papadu, we'll start with you. Who do you like here in the South?
I agree with you again. I think when they got to the fours, they thought, what the hell are we going to do? There isn't anybody else. I think that's kind of what they did, because you get past the first 10 or 12 this year, and it's kind of a crapshoot. Well, I went round and round on this one too. I don't like Virginia, but I think they beat Furman. I don't really like San Diego State. My big upset in this one, I think Utah State's going to beat Missouri. Sorry, Mike, but I took them. I went pretty much chalk after that and came down to Alabama, Arizona. And when Aaron and I did our bracket review of it on Monday, I went Arizona. I've changed my mind. I'm going Alabama. They are a football school. They got more talent than anybody. And I just went with talent. And I just don't like Arizona all that well. And Alabama has not faltered one bit during this mess that they've been in. I don't think they're going to. And I think they got the best player in the country. So I'm going to go with them because of talent.
You're not hearing about Arizona's injuries as much as you probably should. They have a starting guard who's shooting free throws left-handed. They have another player playing with a broken hand on the inside. I mean, look, if you're shooting free throws with the left hand but shooting jump shots with your right hand, that's not a great sign for me. That's going to hurt your percentage at some point. It's not going to go well. I took Furman over Virginia, Papa Dude. That one may very well be my best bet tomorrow if we're catching 5.5 still. I don't blame you. Look, Virginia they don't score enough. Their defense isn't as good as it used to be. And Furman is a very good team if you've not seen them play. The San Diego State College of Charleston 5-12 game should be phenomenal. San Diego State right now, a 5-point favorite. College of Charleston can absolutely shoot the ball, but it's a terrible matchup for them. We'll get into that more tomorrow. But they rely on offensive rebounds. That's how they get so many 3-point shots up, and they're going to get out-rebounded by San Diego State, just to put it bluntly. I agree with you, Pop Dude. I took Alabama out of this bracket. Look, Miller's probably the best player in college basketball. They have a ton of talent around him. He may be the second or third most effective player on that team right now with some of the bigs that they have. And I don't really see I think Arizona would need to be fully healthy to be able to beat Bama. I don't think they are right now. So I do have Arizona, Alabama as the final two out of this one. But give me Bama to make the final four. Aaron, who do you got?
Yeah, same. I have Alabama. I mean, you look at their road, it's not going to be too tough, I don't think. And so I think they get it done. I think they just have more talent than the rest of this bunch. And Papa Dude said it. I mean, well, we all kind of was skeptical. Hey, what will Alabama do with all this shit going on down there? They've been fine. They look like the same team. The very first game after, they didn't play all that well. After that, they haven't had any trouble. Give me Alabama out of this region. I think they get it done.
All right, let's quick rip through our championship game and winner. I took Alabama over Gonzaga in the final game. So I'm going to 1 over a 3 there. Aaron, who do you like?
UCLA. I'm sticking with them. UCLA over Alabama for me.
Papa Dude?
I'm taking Houston over Alabama, if Houston's healthy.
Papa Dude. Still sentimental. I love it. Sentimental in that age. It's great, Papa Dude. All right, let's go to one of the first 4 games here. We've got Nevada, one of those Mountain West teams, taking on Arizona State. Arizona State laying 2, total sitting at 134 here in this spot. Papa Dude, I know you're going to use this one later as part of your best bet, but let's talk about the game first, and we'll jump into that a little bit later.
All right. I don't like the way Nevada's playing going into this. You hit the nail on the head with the Mountain West. I think the one team in the Mountain West you got to be aware of is San Diego State. I think they're a threat because they're so consistent. They play very, very well defensively. I don't like Nevada the way they're playing. So I took Arizona State. I think Arizona State's decent, and I like the line. That's who I'm going with.
Yeah, I agree with Papa Dude here. I like Arizona State. I bet this last night. I bet way too much Nevada in the last month to be able to then back them because I've watched them enough to know that they're just not very good. So if Arizona State able to bring their A game, I think they take care of business tonight. Aaron, who do you like?
Well, disclaimer, I missed both the games last night, and I was so frustrated because I thought I had both of them won at different times late in the game, and it just – anyway. So maybe I'm due to win one here. I'm with you guys. We'll make it a clean sweep of Arizona State. I don't like this Nevada team very well. I think Arizona State just a little bit better, tougher competition, a little bit tougher conference. I think they get it done. So give me Arizona State tonight.
And let's head over to the Battle of the 16s to see who gets to lose by 20. Texas Southern -2 here against Fairleigh Dickinson, total at 148. To be fair, I do like this rule because a 16 actually gets to win a game or play a game. I like these playing games here for the lowest two levels there. I'd lean Texas Southern in this spot, but I kind of like the first half under more. We talked about how effective those are early on in the tournament, specifically against two teams that I think are going to be a little bit more nervous than the rest of the field here. If you look at what happened last night in the Texas A&M Corpus Christi game, the total was at 156. Scored like 55, or no, they scored 60 points the first half. They went on and scored 84 in the second. So you really saw that first half versus second half difference there. So I'll take the under first half here. Papa Dude, what do you like?
I like Texas Southern in this. I almost put that as my best bet instead of the one I did, but I hate to bet on a 14-20 team as a best bet. That's kind of what did it for me. But I looked at their schedule. They have played a murderous schedule. There's like 10 teams in this tournament that they've played. So and all of them on the road, every single one of them. The SWAC's not very good. They came through it though and won it. They're playing better right now. I think they went 10-6 in their last 16 games after they got out of that brutal non-conference. Fairleigh Dickinson is from a very weak league. They shouldn't be in the tournament. Merrimack beat them in the conference tournament, and for some stupid-ass rule that the NCAA – I mean, you win your conference tournament, you can't be in it because you haven't been D1 long enough.
Mm-hmm.
What difference does it make? That one I don't get. I do not understand that one. But anyway, Fairleigh Dickinson's in because Merrimack could not go. I'm liking Texas Southern. I think they're going to win pretty easy.
Yeah, ironically, 2 of the final 4 teams in Fairleigh Dickinson's division could not go. So they just had to beat one other team that was eligible there to go to the big dance to get in. It should be an interesting game. Aaron, what were your thoughts here?
You know, Papa Dude, we talked about that Grambling Texas Southern game last week, and so I watched it. And this Texas Southern team's not terrible. I mean, their record is terrible, but they're really not a bad team. They've got some talented players, especially at the guard position. So give me Texas Southern. I really like that game against Grambling. And I'll be completely fair and honest. It's the first time I've watched them all season long. So, you know, maybe they played above their heads that day. I don't know, but they look good. And listen, Fairleigh Dickinson, I think they're fairly poorly named, let's say. So we'll go with Texas Southern.
We'll just leave that alone. All right, let's head over to the NBA here. We got the Warriors headed in to take on the Clippers. The Clippers are laying 2 here at home. Total sitting at 237. Papa, we'll start out with you. Who do you like here in this NBA battle?
I'll just make it quick. I don't ever bet the Warriors on the road. They just don't play well. Clippers are they're an enigma. You know, I hate to bet them too, so I'm not going to bet it. I think the Clippers will win tonight at home.
Give me the under. Clippers are one of the best under teams at home. I think they were 24-8 last I heard, but I'd have to double check that stat. But they're a very, very good under team at home. The Warriors struggle on the road. To me, that makes it a pretty easy under the 237 here. Aaron, where do you want to go?
I went with the Clippers. I tell you what, the NBA right now is kind of bizarro land. It's been weird. And these are 2
– the Rockets are winning.
I know.
Yeah, beat Boston.
They beat Boston. Yeah, I mean, that was nuts. But, you know, to get back to this one, both of these teams are really tough to get right. You know, they really are. I lean Clippers here because it's at home, but I wouldn't be shocked either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only bet one NBA game tonight. It was a total. Picking sides right now is difficult. I took the over in the Mavs Spurs game just because neither of those teams play an ounce of defense. They both can score. All right, let's head over to the ice here. Aaron, you're going to best bet of the day is going to come from here, so we'll not give that one out yet, but we'll talk about the other bet that you liked in here first. Avs taking on the Leafs, -135 for Leafs, +115 for the Avs. Total sitting at 6.5. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, I went with the Avalanche. I think they get the job done tonight in Toronto. I think this Avalanche team is that, you know, after we bragged on forever, they kind of went into a little bit of a slump. They're out of it now, though. They're playing pretty well. Talk about a team that's really inconsistent and hard to get right on a nightly basis. That's Toronto. This team is wildly inconsistent. They've had some injuries. They're getting some guys back, you know, slowly here and there, but end of the day, I just think Colorado's a better team, and you're getting plus money, +115. I'll take the Avalanche tonight in Toronto.
Papa Dude?
I see where you're coming from on that. Get the plus money, but I'm taking Toronto at home tonight.
Aaron and I were texting last night. I thought this was kind of interesting, so I'm just going to bring it up now. At this point, it feels like you almost just lay the goal and a half for the favorite. You take the dog in the NHL because you are seeing. I think last night only 2 games were decided by 1 goal. You're seeing these 2-goal games so often now because of the empty nets. It doesn't make a ton of sense just betting the favorite, right, Aaron?
Yep. No, I totally agree. If you're taking Toronto, I'd just take them minus the goal and a half, like you just said. I think they're like plus 170. So you're creating a lot of value by doing it. And it's happening a lot. And this is not a one-night thing. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks now. It seems like these margins of victories are getting bigger and bigger. So, yeah, I mean, for example, the Blackhawks won by over a goal and a half last night against the Bruins. So it's crazy how it's coming in. So I would kind of ride that wave. And like you said, for example, Minnesota tonight. Well, I think never mind. I'm not going to bring that up right now.
Yeah. That is a great example, and I do appreciate you holding that one off as well. Second period overs. We've talked about this a little bit on VSiN. Both Aaron and I went 11-1 last night. So second period overs continue to cash every single team in the NHL heading toward the over. Aaron, was there any first period unders you like today? Just real quick, because I know we talked about that as well.
I thought about the Islanders and Anaheim, but I don't trust Anaheim. That's the problem. I'm worried that game might be 2-0 Islanders, and you're gonna lose it there. Last night was a great opportunity to play those first period unders. Tonight, I don't think we really have a great opportunity. The other one, Minnesota, who plays a lot of unders, but they're playing the Blues, and so again, it's the same worry. Yeah,
Minnesota St. Louis would be the one I would look at if I was going to play any. I have not punched in a first period under, but to me, that is the most logical one to do so just because the Wild, specifically on the road, I think they're 44% ROI on the road in first period under so far this year, which is wild this late in the season. All right, let's head over to Gulfstream Park's turf course. Race number 8, 5 furlong turf sprint here. Papa Dude, I did you a favor here. I was between 7 and 8. 7 was a mile and 16th on synthetic. 8 was 5 furlongs on the turf. I thought you would appreciate this one more.
Oh, yeah.
As usual. Aaron, we'll start with you here. Who do you like?
Well, I like the number 7, Miss Sakamoto. I just think this horse has been too close to not get it done eventually. I think this horse gets out to the lead today from this outside post. I think they just ride her out of the gate, get her to the front, and see how long she can take him. I know she's gotten caught a couple of times. I think today's the day. We've had a lot of scratches come out of this thing, and I think that makes her job easier. Less horses to hold off. Miss Sakamoto, the 7 horse for me.
She's going to be tough, right? I mean, she should get the lead. You can point to a lot of races where horses are better than her on the turf. I mean, even like Talking Tipsy, the 6 has one when she broke her maiden that was better. Daisy B has a couple back that were better, although she's not going to be able to get the lead. I put the 9 French Kissing on top here. I think it's going to sit a perfect trip. This is first time Jose D'Angelo barn. You get Irad Ortiz aboard. Off the layoff, not a huge concern for me. 13% for D'Angelo, but 22% first time trainer, and obviously picking up Irad, pretty valuable as well. I think sits right behind the 7, gets first run. We'll see if the 7's able to stay up front this time, or is going to give it up late. Pop Dude, where'd you go here?
Well, you stole all my thunder. I agree with you. I went with the 7, but I'm really worried about the 9 winning, especially with Irad jumping on. That came out at me a lot. The 7 has been so consistent, though. Just can't get up there. So that worries you a little bit. Is that one of those second and third place horses? Yeah. You just can't get over the top. Some of them are like that. I think today we're going to find out. So I went with the 7. I like the 9. Second, I'm a little worried about Talking Tipsy as well. I've got it third.
Aaron, am I crazy for liking the 2 Peach Cobbler a little bit? Second time off a long layoff for a 4-year-old in a barn that's 18%. Doesn't put out a lot of stars out, but hits at a decent percentage. Alvarado runs right back. They're protecting the horse after winning a claiming race. Doesn't get the right pace set up, but 20-1 seems like a generous number.
The horse isn't for me, but it's not one I'm going to call you crazy on. And you hit it off of a layoff at this distance. Yes, it was against weaker company, but it was a win. And so if we move forward off of that race, we've seen the horse likes the distance. Obviously, if we move forward today, you're kind of into the mix a little bit. I don't hate that pick at all. I didn't use just full disclosure, but I don't hate it. And, sometimes you see no pace on paper and then you get into the race and it's like the jockeys saw no pace on paper either. And a couple of them went out there that don't usually. So that could happen. I don't hate for 20-1. Don't hate it.
Yeah, it feels like the 8 could go if it really wanted to. The 5 could go if it really wanted to. And you got Paco there, so you might see a little more aggression. I think the 7's the fastest, though, which often is a very good thing on Gulfstream Park's turf course.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump over to the best bets here. Papa Dude, we'll start out with you here. You got a nice little parlay for us.
I decided I'd just go back to a parlay. I had a horrible week last week, so hell, let's just go for it. I already talked about Arizona State. I think they win tonight against Nevada. And Minnesota is in St. Louis. The Blues suck. I never pick against the Blues because I want to root for them, but I don't care this year. Yeah. And I think, what were they, minus 145? Minnesota was in St. Louis. How much?
135. I bet.
135. Yeah, which is strange. So I'm going with that one. I go just money line on Arizona State and the Wild. We're getting plus 185. I like that. And I know you've got something to add to that, so I'll let you take over.
Yeah, give me we talked about laying the goal and a half here. Minus 135 versus plus 175, playing the worst team when pulling their goalie in the NHL. The likelihood this ends at 1 is highly low, unless they go to overtime. But, hey, in that case, I'll deal with it since it's just a 50-50 coin flip anyway. The Wild here, look, this is a fade the Blues situation. They've won 3 games since they traded everyone away. They're 3-8. Those 3 games, 2 of them were against the San Jose Sharks, 1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets, 3 terrible NHL teams. Guess what? Wild not terrible. Wild kind of need this game. They're 3 points back of the division. They don't want to play Colorado in the first round. Let me just tell you that right now. And whoever ends up in the second spot in this division ends up with Colorado. Wild need the win. The Blues are terrible. Lay the goal and a half. Give me the plus 175. Aaron, what's your best bets?
Good bets for both you guys. I like them. You guys talked me off playing the Avs to win and said go the over 6.5 goals instead. And I think that does make the most logical sense. This Leafs team is pretty darn good. They are at home. I get it. And you're getting plus 115 on the Avs. You're getting minus 110 here. So the price difference isn't huge. It probably is the most likely scenario that this Avs-Leafs game goes over 6.5 goals tonight. Both these teams can put it in the net, especially the Leafs right now. They're scoring at a high rate. The big key here is Colorado, their goaltending at times looks decent, and at times it's not great. They've been pretty inconsistent here. The Leafs have been pretty inconsistent all year in goaltending, and so when you have those 2 things and you've got those scorers on the ice, yeah, I like it. I'll take this over 6.5 goals tonight. Should be a really competitive game, too. You talk about 2 teams that need to win. It's these 2 teams right here as well. They need to keep pace here, and they need to keep getting points. So competitive game. Goaltending might be a little sketchy. These 2 teams can score anyway. Let's go over this 6.5 goals. I like it.
Yeah, definitely going to be the most fun game tonight from the NHL slate. NBA slate actually kind of decent, but we didn't talk very much about it because it's wildly difficult to predict right now. We mentioned that one. We will sign off here. We'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking more about the NCAA games from Thursday's slate. Then we'll be back for more on Friday. I'll go over the best bets before we take off here. Aaron taking the Leafs and the Avs over 6.5. Papa Dude, ASU and the Wild plus 185. I'm going to take the Wild, lay a goal and a half plus 175. Last week's guys, what are you doing without me here? 3-9, down 620, down 143 for the year. Now I got to make something back here. We get into the college tournament. Thank you very much for joining us today. We will be back tomorrow with all of our best bets around the Thursday slate from the college basketball world.